Socialists like to point at megacorporations as a failure of market economy, but in reality they are the cancer that forms when you slowly add greater and greater government power and interventionism to a market economy. Megacorporations are what happens when you level up a monopoly, but just like everything else in the modern economy, they are a lot more complicated than monopolies. Unlike traditional monopolies, a megacorporation doesn't necessarily not have any competition. On the contrary, the hallmark of a megacorporation is when the only competition is another multi-billion-dollar corporation and a lack of small local competitors. This is because megacorporations, like old-fashioned monopolies, are fueled by bureaucracy and barriers to entry. It takes a large amount of energy and time for companies to manage day-to-day regulations of simply being in business at a small company level. This becomes exponentially more complicated if you are in an industry with an even moderate government interest. You will also find that size dictates a large amount of regulation. Once you hit a certain employee number or sales volume number, new regulations click into place that ratchet up the cost of doing business. This makes it very hard for small companies to become mid-sized businesses and mid-sized businesses to become large businesses. You would think it would make it harder for big businesses and megacorporations to compete, right? Wrong. Because megacorporations have the retained earnings to keep powerful lawyers on staff or on retainer. It takes pennies per employee to keep those lawyers ready to go and help them avoid legal trouble and find loopholes. It would take a small business every dollar they make to get the same level of legal counsel. Likewise, they can afford representation in government. A huge corporation can get the right people in the right place to talk to those in power and make sure they know this, that, and the other thing will hurt their business. They can also make suggestions that help megacorporations but hurt small businesses, like additional feel-good green regulations that a megacorporation can fulfill easily but a small company can't. Again, this can come down to cost per employee. It is inexpensive in cost per employee to keep specialists on staff to fill those needs when you are a multi-billion-dollar company with thousands of employees. But it is an impossible burden when you are a $10 million company with a dozen employees. Such regulations drive small businesses out of the market and leave the megacorporation as the only survivor. Now, the natural incentive when you realize what is going on is to go after the megacorporations and punish them. But if you go after them with government, you are just giving the government that caused the whole problem even more power. You see, government and politicians love megacorporations because they can manipulate huge sections of the economy with just a single phone call. They only have to schmooze one executive to get them support on this, that, and the other thing. You see, it isn't the lobbyist by nature that is the problem, because the megacorporations that are created by an overgrown bureaucracy will be approached by the people in government as vehicles to implement policy. When a politician asks, how will this new policy affect the retail industry? They go ask Walmart and Target, not Billy's Workwear. When they want to know how their policies will affect the beverage industry, they ask Pepsi and Coke, not the local craft ginger beer company. They then claim that they have data on billions of dollars worth of that sector while schmoozing it up with their buddies and fueling the corruption that created the megacorporation. The problem is, you can't solve this by regulating, lobbying, or megacorporations. Every new regulation you support can and will be twisted to meet the ends of the politician because they are the ones crafting the legislation. Then it is implemented by the bureaucracy, and they will interpret it in their own best interest, which is always that the bureaucracy must expand. Increasing business regulation does not curtail megacorporations or their power. It only entrenches it by making it harder and harder for small and medium-sized businesses to be heard, while megacorporations will always have a strong voice. And the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If every small business in the country was suffering, but the megacorporations were growing and adding jobs, the politicians would focus on the job numbers and gloss over the fundamental economic damage they are creating. This is exactly what happened during the pandemic, when they forced small businesses to close but let megacorporations like Amazon and Walmart continue operating. The only thing that can curtail the social, economic, and political power of megacorporations and their relentless growth is to limit the system that created them in the first place, that being the regulatory power of government. Megacorporations only have power because government has power. Attacking megacorporations instead of the politicians and bureaucracies that created them is like attacking Frankenstein's monster instead of Frankenstein himself. If you leave the mad scientist alone, he will just make more monsters or make his existing monster stronger even after you beat it the first time it attacks. Once megacorporations can no longer access special regulatory privileges, exemptions, and sweetheart government contracts, they will naturally be replaced by new and more innovative competitors. Big companies are naturally stagnant and bloated. They do not adapt or innovate well, and that is why big companies like Sears and Blockbuster went the way of the dinosaur. But the problem is that those were in the age of the simple monopoly. Market factors could still overcome monopolies, but the megacorporation is something different. Because of the extreme entanglement between megacorporations and government, we see such perverse behaviors as megacorporations behaving as arms of the government, such as in the Twitter and Excel energy situations. We have passed the point where competition, no matter how dynamic or innovative, can overcome the advantages our government is giving megacorporations. This hydra can only be slain by attacking the heart of the problem: limitless government regulation and bureaucracy. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.